Hey everyone, it's the one and only magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I am back at it with another spoiler review. And this spoiler review will be on The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, Season 3, Episode 3, episode titled The Sacrifice. So, like always, before we get into it, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. And like always, if you like the video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment down below. And if you aren't subscribed already, feel free to hit that subscribe button if you feel like it. And turn on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. And if you want to share the video, that'd be great too. And if you do any of those things, that would be very much appreciated. Now, before we get into this, let's just briefly talk about the NFL. Next week's spoiler review, I probably won't talk about the NFL, but anyway, let's kind of get into it quickly. That way we can get into the review of this episode. So today, in my area, where I live, my state, the 1 o'clock game on CBS was between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. Trust me, if the Patriots weren't on my TV screen at 1 o'clock today in my area, I wouldn't have cared. But anyway, so I decided to order me some Chinese food and watch the game, and well, the best parts of that event was the food and the Patriots throwback uniforms. That was about it. There's not really much more to talk about other than that. But in all seriousness, so the final score was 21-14. The Steelers won that game, and New England, they had multiple opportunities to win the game, but they wouldn't stop fumbling it. That's because they didn't want to have Aaron Rodgers look bad and have two losses in a row. And when I mean they, I mean the NFL. And because next week, in the first international game of the season, will be between the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they didn't want to have Aaron Rodgers. Go in Ireland on a loss. So even though the Steelers, they didn't look spectacular or anything, no. New England just made way too many mistakes, and Pittsburgh did just enough to win the game by a touchdown. Like hell, Drake May he outperformed Aaron Rodgers, but thanks to a bajillion fumbles, Pittsburgh was able to hold on and win because that's how the NFL wrote it up. After that, if anybody still thinks the NFL is legit, like I don't know what to tell you. Like, come on, think about it. If Pittsburgh didn't have that international game coming up next week against Minnesota, I don't think Pittsburgh wins. I'm just being completely honest. Because the way that New England, they were going for it on fourth down, the way they were moving down up and down the field all day, aside from the first drive, New England could have won this game at least by 14 points, maybe 21 points. Maybe by anywhere between 14, 17, or 21 points, New England could have won it, but New England was instructed to look dumb. They were instructed to fumble the football like 6-7 times during the whole fucking game. Because I believe Minnesota beat Cincinnati, and I mean, they really beat them bad. So the NFL is thinking in their heads that, okay, we have an international game in Ireland coming up early Sunday morning, next Sunday, and we want both of those teams, Minnesota and Pittsburgh, to come into Ireland on wins, not losses. So there you go. That's why Pittsburgh won, even though New England outplayed them. Like, I don't know. Yeah, if the international game wasn't coming up, New England would have won. That's the only reason that they lost, because they don't want Aaron Rodgers, whose body is held together by bubble gum and duct tape. They did not want him going into Ireland on a loss. You can try to argue against that, but I don't know, man. Good luck trying to convince me that Pittsburgh outplayed New England. Yeah, I just don't. Nah. Nah, New England outplayed Pittsburgh, but they still lost because, yeah, no, we can't have either team hosting our first international game of the season coming in to a new country on a loss. We want, because would that look appealing to Ireland fans? Both teams coming in on a loss? No, I don't think it does. So there you go. So yeah, Drake May definitely outplayed Aaron Rodgers, but anyway, you heard my reasons. Now let's go ahead and get into this spoiler review of The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 3, Episode 3, titled The Sacrifice. Here we go. Alright, so Daryl and Carol find themselves at odds over whether they should help or leave the people in the village in Spain until Tina makes a heartbreaking discovery that might force their decision in this episode, which we will get to. Okay. So, the episode starts with Mr. Gill. He's stomping and he's walking fast toward Federico. You know what? I'm going to call him Uncle F because that's easier. So, Mr. Gill is storming into Uncle F's office, and Uncle F thinks Mr. Gill is coming in there for a drink. And by the way, this is right after the next day after the festival of the last episode. And, Mr. Gill says, "You think I'm here for a freaking drink? 3 of my men are missing. Remember those 3 men that Daryl killed? Turns out those 3 men were part of El Khazar, not the village." That surprised me. I thought they were part of Uncle F's village, but no, they're a part of El Khazar's, Mr. Gill's group. And so Mr. Gill is pissed, and he's like, "We are going to have to search every crook and nanny for our 3 men." And of course, he doesn't like the fact that Carol said what Carol said in the last episode. So yeah. And after that, one of Uncle F's men, he kind of says, "Do you think it was the Americans that had anything to do with it?" Talking about Daryl and Carol. And Uncle F, he doesn't know that for sure, but it just happens to be a coincidence that Uncle F said that Daryl and Carol found Roberto and Tina at that riverbank, and that's where those men were going. So he's kind of like slowly figuring it out that, yeah, maybe both of them had something to do with it. But what he doesn't know, Carol didn't have nothing to do with it. Obviously, it was all Daryl. So yeah, so here we go. While they spend time with Roberto, and Daryl is going off with Roberto, and Carol is going to be spending time with Roberto's father, Antonio. And then Tina, okay, so here we go. Yeah, like I was going over, I got it here in my notes. Yeah, not surprisingly, the villain of the season, Mr. Gill of El Khazar, is not only angry about Carol's unpopular opinion from the night before, but also because because 3 of his men are missing. He suspects Uncle F is somehow behind it and threatens to leave early, cutting all ties with them forever if something isn't done about it. And so while the search begins for the missing men that Daryl dispatched of, Daryl and Carol disagree about their next move. Carol wants to stay and try to help Uncle F and his people, where Daryl just he wants to go home. He wants to get the hell out of there. He's had enough of being over here, overseas. You got what I'm saying? He's like, I just want to get back to America, to everybody that we know. He's like, yeah, these people got their own problems. They gonna have to deal with it. He just wants to bounce and get the hell out of there, right? So, yeah. So Daryl is gonna go with Roberto because Roberto says that he might know someone that can help him fix the boat, and that's the guy that Daryl, he cut his fingers off. Well, he's in that same pit with the walkers. So the walkers did not completely eat him up. He's just roaming in there with the rest of the walkers. I don't know. These men, Mr. Gill's men, aren't doing such a great job at searching. I don't know what he did. I don't know what Daryl did with the other two men, but the guy that tried to kill him there, yeah, he's still in there with the other walkers. But yeah, yeah, kind of funny. Daryl's just like he happens to be casually walking by with Roberto past the cage with the walkers, and yeah, the guy just happens to be in there as a walker now. So yeah, both Carol and Daryl split up, with Daryl and Roberto leaving to see if the boat can be fixed, while Carol stays behind unexpectedly, spending the entire day with Antonio, Roberto's father. It's clear it's clear Roberto's father, Antonio, has taken a liking to Carol as they enjoy a meal together and an old black and white film. Oh yeah, because there's this one part where Carol's like just like I don't know, she's like maybe doing some dishes or she's just like looking around the house and she hears a woman wailing in pain and she hears like these lashing or something heavy being moved, and so she decides to grab a sword out of Antonio's house, and she goes, there's this like house or whatever that's across from Antonio's house. And so Carol decides to go and check it out, and it's him watching a movie, and it just happens to be like a woman crying or something in the movie. And she's like, what the hell? And so Antonio sees her, and he says, come sit down, and you can even bring the sword with you. And that kind of brings back a memory of when the kingdom, that one time in season 9 during the fair, that infamous episode in season 9 where they're all watching a movie, and that's kind of what, that's sort of like a flashback for Carol, because like the way he's talking, she's like, you sound just like Jerry, and she says that's a friend I know from back in America. So yeah, they're watching the movie, Carol and Antonio. So okay, so yeah, Roberto slowly unveils pieces of his past, including the tragedy behind his wife's passing that Justina still blames herself for. Justina, meanwhile, she's sewing with her grandmother, holding on to hope that Roberto's promise to find a solution before the next offering will work. Because Roberto, before he left with Daryl, Roberto gave Justina this small little compass that she could put around her neck, and her grandmother sees it, and she's like, is that from him? And, she tells her grandmother, you won't say anything, will you? And she's like, I was once young, yes, even me. And she's like, I ain't gonna say nothing. Like, it's just like a compass. So she's like, yeah, I'm not really gonna say nothing. So, as Justina and her grandmother are sewing, Justina accidentally pricks her finger with a needle, so Justina searches for her uncle's cabinet for a bandage and hidden chocolate because, like, she tells her, like, look, the key's in this little in this little box, and you find yourself a bandage, and maybe, just maybe, you can find your uncle's chocolates and you can eat them. That's just like a little, they're just having a little jokey moment there. So Justina is searching the cabinet, and that's when she makes a heartbreaking discovery. There's a secret compartment in the cabinet where there are 5 ribbons with her name from past years, including the most recent ribbon. So that means that Justin Tina's name was never on one of the pigs. Uncle F had that switched out for I don't know if they had like a ribbon that was completely blank to match the color or what, but yeah, like you got these five ribbons all in different colors, and the most recent one among them. So yeah, so her name was never tied to a pig for the past five offerings. That's so yeah. So we learned from that Uncle F he didn't, excuse me, Uncle F didn't want Justin Tina to possibly be taken away, right? So for 5 years since they formed an alliance with El Khazar, he's pretty much been hiding and switching out the ribbons every year, and she's got lucky because of it. But like, I don't know, did they like sew someone else's name or something, or had somebody twice on the ribbons? I don't know how that works, but okay. So, yeah, Justin Tina being devastated, she goes to try to find Roberto, who hasn't returned with Daryl yet. Justin Tina resorts to confiding in Carol as she experiences immense guilt over Alba getting chosen. And yeah, so although Carol actually provides some good advice about the situation, it's clear Justin Tina will disregard all of it because she tells Carol that, how is it fair that Alba got picked? How's it fair that I haven't gotten picked? And Carol says it's not fair. None of it's fair. But she says sometimes there's not really anything you can do about it, as unfortunate as it is. So, yeah, there you go. Okay, so next up, now we're going to get to Daryl and Roberto. Meanwhile, Daryl and Roberto travel to a lighthouse to meet an older woman who happens to be like a ship captain or whatever. And this old lady, she isn't shy about how many men she seems to be sleeping around with, because there are these two men. Okay, so Daryl and Roberto, they go to the lighthouse, and you got two men pointing guns at them, because it's not because of Roberto. It's because Daryl is with him, and obviously, he's a stranger to them. And of course, Roberto, he brings these olives as a peace offering to give to the old lady. As she lets them in, she's got the jar of olives, and she's going to town on them, like I don't know who in the hell would want to eat an olive, but whatever. I mean, like, I don't know, an olive just does not sound appealing to me. I don't care what situation I'm in, but anyway, so the two men follow them, and she goes up to one of them, and she's locking lips with one of them and thinking, oh, okay, maybe that's her boyfriend or significant other. But then she goes to the next guy, and she's beginning to lock lips with him, and I was like, what the hell? She's just doing this in front of the other guy she was just locking lips with in front of Daryl, Roberto. Like, damn, she definitely ain't shy about sleeping around, at least being romantically involved. Like, okay, like, you got no shame in it, and well, hey, if that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. So, okay. Okay, so Daryl, okay, so she isn't shy about how many men she seems to be romantically involved with who could possibly help them with the boat. Not surprisingly, Roberto has an ulterior motive for why he is helping Daryl. It ain't nothing like bad, but like, he wants Daryl and Carol to take him and Justin Tina with them to America. So that's why he's agreeing to help them, to help him try to get that boat going. Which, I mean, Daryl and Carol did kind of fuck them a little bit. So like, I kind of don't blame Roberto, especially after what we learned about how Roberto and Justin Tina's romance is forbidden, and how the offering, they have to go off to El Khazar to never be seen again, to be married to who knows, like, so, by force. And yeah, this is pretty much like oh yeah, I forgot to say at the end of the conversation with Mr. Gill and Uncle F. This is pretty much like a mafia thing, definitely 100%, because before Mr. Gill gets ready to leave, he pushes his hand out, and he's like he pulls his hand out with the ring, this ring on his finger, and he's telling Uncle F, "You better kiss my ring." Like that kind of definitely reminds me of the 100% reminds me of the Godfather. Yeah, so I was like, damn, that's crazy. It's like they're literally telling you that, yeah, this is like a mafia type of situation, pretty much. Like, except we're in a zombie apocalypse, but it still kind of has that mafia type of deal going down where, like, to conclude our business, you better hold my hand and kiss my ring or you're gonna pay for it. Oh, shit. Anyway, back on track. So so Roberto wants Daryl and Carol to take him and Justintina with them to America, and naturally the boat is unfixable. Yeah, but they can, if they can provide the lighthouse with ethanol and promises to take Roberto and Justintina to America, then she will be glad to help him, right? So, okay. So Daryl and Roberto search an old shipyard where they appear to find at least one boat that could maybe work. After a quick scuffle with the walkers in both the water and on land, because they are banging on the boat to get like a piece or something that they need loose, and that is of course attracting the walkers. And damn, I just gotta say, Daryl with that damn rifle, he is a hell of a shot, absolutely. So, like, just to mix it up, if he don't always want to use that crossbow, he can surely use that rifle. But the problem is always finding bullets. That's why the crossbow would be the better weapon, because you can always get the arrows back. Even if you shoot a walker in the head with it, all you have to do is clean the blood and shit off of it, and just, yeah, you can use it as long as it doesn't break, right? The arrow. So, yeah. Okay, so after that quick scuffle with the walkers, they both head back home where Daryl decides to make a quick pit stop. So, on their way to the old shipyard, they come across this statue that's got like all of this stuff all around it. And Daryl wants to know, what is all that stuff on the statue? And Roberto is like kind of telling him that, well, people will stop by here and leave gifts and offerings to everyone's loved ones that may be lost or dead, and it's kind of, they believe that it's a way to show that the people that drop off the gifts, to show that, you know, to their loved ones that they haven't forgotten them, and it's also kind of like a sign of peace. You know, that's kind of what that's pretty much what that's about. So on the way back, Daryl decides to stop at the statue, and he leaves behind Laurent's Rubik's Cube at the statue, where many left offerings for peace. Unfortunately for both of them, they do not arrive back home in time, as Carol and Antonio discover that Justintina has decided to sacrifice herself and take Alba's place. So Justintina is going to El Cazar. So, yeah. That's... Well, we got one more little piece of info. I should have kind of went a little bit in order, but that's okay. All right. Because that discovery of Justintina going back with Mr. Gill to El Cazar is like the last thing that happens in the episode. So, before that, Mr. Gill's wife and that girl from the second episode, Paz, are having relations in the bed. So yeah, that pretty much confirms that they were a romantic couple and that they still have those feelings towards each other. And, you know, so that's okay. So now let's get back to El Cazar. So they were planning on El Cazar, were planning on staying a couple more days, but so yeah, Mr. Gill, his wife, and everybody else from El Cazar, they decide to leave, disregarding the search for the three men with Justintina in tow, which they didn't do a very good job at searching. Because one of them is literally with the fucking walkers inside the walls. Like, come on, bro. Y'all ain't that damn. That search didn't go that good, apparently. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, now Justin Tina is going back and offering herself up, sacrificing herself essentially to go to El Khazar because she feels really bad that Alba was the one chosen, and I don't know what she said to offer herself up, but apparently it worked because they are now taking Justin Tina instead of Alba. Alba gets to stay with her mother. So I don't know what she said, but it's clear this season has made it very clear that it is relying heavily on themes of romance. We have Roberto and Justin Tina's forbidden romance, the secret love between Paz and Mr. Gill's wife, and we see times arguably when Daryl is reflecting upon his past romances with Isabel and Leah, as those were two women he would officially romantically involve himself with for just a short time because, well, they're both dead. You know, Leah, I mean, she was, well, she kind of got what was coming to her. Isabella, that was unfortunate that that happened, but yeah, that's the way romance goes. The only two people that I can think of that are romantically involved, and both of them are still alive, Rick and Michonne. Other than that, it's like, well, you had Gabriel and Rosita. They got together in season 9, but of course, at the end, the very last episode of the main show, well, we know that Rosita, she ends up biting the bullet. She ends up biting the dust, which I was surprised that Rosita made it that long because I thought she would have been like a goner way before then, but damn, that was surprising. So yeah, so now yeah, so like yeah, romances however are evidenced by Isabella and Leah, for instance, are often death sentences in the Walking Dead. Yeah. Very few are lucky enough to find it. Yeah, like exactly like Rick and Michonne. Those are they are the only two that definitely have outlived. I don't know if I'm going to say outlived, but they have definitely yeah, I'll just say outlived. They outlived every other potential people that that got romanced and could have stayed together. So yeah, that's definitely so true. So yeah, even fewer are lucky enough to keep it. Will Roberto and Justin Tina have a happy ending? And then what of Paz and Mr. Gill's wife? One thing that looked promising was Paz's visible disdain and anger at seeing Mr. Gill's wife leaving with a man who is most likely abusing her because, oh yeah, when I was talking, she had like a bruise or something, like kind of like on her upper back, and you know, she wanted to know, did he do that or whatever? And she said, I fell, I had an accident. And that didn't sound too convincing because, like, when they were all leaving, El Khazar was leaving, you could see Paz, you could literally just see her visibly tears running down her cheeks as they were all getting ready to leave before they were supposed to. So, I think we know that, with Justin Tina going to El Khazar, that is definitely going to be the catalyst that is going to make them stay in Spain. Oh yeah, 100%, because Carol is going to feel immensely bad because, you know, she told her that, you know, there's pretty much nothing that can be done. It's not fair, but unfortunately sometimes you can't really do nothing about it. And now Carol is going to feel bad about that. And, you know, Justin Tina's grandmother was visibly upset because she said that she was looking for Justin Tina, her and Antonio, but then her grandmother looked visibly upset, and like we knew that something was up, right? And that's when we discovered that Justin Tina was about to be taken away with El Khazar, as she agreed to change places with Alba, so Alba could stay, but Justin Tina had to go in place of Alba. So, yeah, and once Daryl finds out, he's gonna feel, I think part of him is gonna feel a little bad about it. And when Roberto finds out that Justin Tina ain't there, oh, he's gonna be fucking pissed. He's gonna, I don't know what kind of outlash he is gonna have, but, he's obviously gonna be devastated. So, Yeah, this season it's starting to pick up. I think this season has 7 episodes total, which that's one more than the last two. So I don't know. Maybe that one episode is going to be enough to not for it to not feel so rushed. And I think I might have seen like a little clip. I wasn't trying to look it up, but I saw a little clip of next week's episode, and it just might be a little action packed. Hopefully, it just might be. And those people with the animal masks, with the bone animal masks, might be making an appearance. Very possibly, because I don't know. I kind of looked away, but I was trying to look away real quick that because I didn't want to see nothing, and it looked like a group of dirty people. So I don't like. I'm not meaning that in a negative way, but again, I didn't get a good look. I didn't get a good enough look to see exactly who they were. But I'm just guessing that it's probably going to be the people with the furs and the animal bone masks, because they looked like a group of savages, kind of just briefly, like from the I saw like a glimpse of a really dirty person, and I looked away because I didn't like. I hate when they show what's coming in the next episode and you got to wait at least a week or near a week. So I kind of just like I was trying to get back into the kitchen to go ahead and get all this set up, and I saw a view of a really dirty person, kind of just real quick. I was like, oh, let me look the other way as I'm walking out of the room, and I let me put it on mute because I don't want to hear nothing they're saying. So I don't know. So yeah, I like this episode. It's starting to pick up. I liked this episode better than the first episode, but I still like the second episode. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say on the matter. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go so I can get this uploaded and edit it, and that way I can have it out by Monday. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. And if you're new, welcome on in for the very first time. I'm glad to have your support and thank you for your time. And I am Buck Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, guys. And I'm going to get to work on my AEW All Out results soon enough. But anyway, until next time, bye, guys.